I'm Jenn de la Vega.
And I'm Clara Park.
And welcome to The Cinema Chefs, the podcast for people who love to cook, watch movies, and cook what they see in movies. Today we are going to talk about the platform. Some spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the movie, and if you're going to watch it, I want to issue a very strong content warning for extreme violence and gore, including cannibalism.
What is the one-sentence summary of the movie? A man finds himself in a vertical prison where each day a sumptuous banquet platform descends level by level to the hundreds of prisoners below. AKA trickle-down economics do not work.
Unfortunate. We chose this movie because it really makes you think about food waste, and equality while also offering a scathing social commentary. And I personally wanted to have a little disclaimer. They don't do any of the things we're going to talk about on this episode because they're in prison. Yeah. The film inspired a lot of great advice for us to maximize the food you do have at home.
I think those are excellent points, Jen. And I remember reading about this movie on some lists about food movies, which this is, but obviously so much more. Simple premise, but I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah. While the cooking and food preparation scenes use the highest quality ingredients, it's also a mirror and microcosm of the hierarchy and dynamics of the prison below, and maybe also the world outside. There's a lot of oversight. It's really scary, and especially in the cells, they know if you stole food or not. Like on every floor, there are 333 floors. They know if someone A is alive, B has stolen food or not, and then they turn up the heat or freeze the room. Someone's watching all 300 of these floors. It's scary.
Yeah, clearly the author had read Michel Foucault, Discipline and Punish, the panopticon. People are always being monitored, but I think they're being tortured and everything they're doing is being scrutinized, and the food and the way that they're fed is punishment. And I think that's what makes it extra diabolical. I think it was deliberate to have the cooks' equipment and ingredients look so shiny and perfect with these bright lights, and the prisoners are dirty, unkempt, and always just so dimly lit. It's a not so subtle way of saying the ingredients are way more important value than the prisoners.
Yeah, like the top floor, we even get this in the opening sequence. It's like a Michelin-starred kitchen. There's someone going around checking the quality of all the ingredients. Yep. Ooh, the broth smells so good. There's dozens of prep chefs. There's rows of hanging prosciutto, caviar, escargot, so many desserts, large fillets of fish, whole pigs. Our main character, Goreng, decides to bring a book, Don Quixote specifically, and that's not a mistake.
Deliberate.
Yes, the word quixotic from Don Quixote is idealistic, unrealistic, and impractical. And while he does align with that at the very beginning, we start to see collective action happening throughout the movie. As he says later on, nothing happens overnight. Specifically, at 36 minutes, 36 seconds, we see a panna cotta for the first time. Clara, what is a panna cotta?
It's traditionally an Italian dessert. The literal translation is cooked cream. So it's almost like a fancy Jell-O, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It's a dairy, creamy, jiggly, fancy Jell-O.
Yeah, and we see a lot of high and low, especially when they move between the levels.
Oh, for sure. And I think when I was watching it again, I definitely got the menu vibes from the kitchen scenes, even though the platform came out first. More on that. Originally titled El Hoyo, or The Hole in Spanish, the film was released in Spain in 2019. Directed by Galder Gaztelu Urrutia and written by David De Sola and Pedro Rivero. The movie stars Ivan Masague as Goreng and Zorian Aguilar as Trimagasi, the older gentleman. So this movie was nominated for a Goya, the Spanish Oscars, for Best New Director and Original Screenplay, and won the Goya for Best Special Effects.
I love that we're learning about the different awards ceremonies in different countries. We learned about Blue Dragon from Old Boy and now the Goyas.
Amazing.
Well, El Hoyo definitely made a splash when it was released. And for us in this podcast, I think one of the most interesting takeaways from the movie was the whole idea of food waste, how to best minimize food waste. Spoiler, the platform cannot possibly feed all 666 prisoners, so they collectively have to approach eating differently. We first see eponymous platform at 6 minutes, 49 seconds.
So Goreng is horrified. The food has been picked over and that his cellmate drinks the wine straight from the bottle despite numerous other people swigging from the same one. He refuses to eat any of it. Also, interesting fact, they filmed the movie chronologically so that the actor playing Goreng could gradually lose over 20 pounds to show his physical deterioration from malnutrition.
Oh, geez. That is some method acting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was committed, and the special effects were great, but his body really was that much smaller. Jen, what is a way to use up wine in a bottle that someone else has drunk from?
Ideally, we are pouring into cups and not putting mouths on the freaking bottle. But, if it's someone I know, my partner or family member, I don't really care. But if you're worried about the creepy, gross cooties and germs, you could use that wine for deglazing your proteins, making pan sauces, or reductions. That high heat should just about bubble away anything potentially nasty and dangerous.
What do you mean when you say deglaze a pan?
When you sear meats, there is that lovely crust that gets left behind on the pan. That's called déglacage. Déglacage. I keep switching the syllables, correct me if I'm wrong. But that lovely stuff at the bottom of the pan has tons of flavor. So one way to remove it is to deglaze the pan by pouring either wine, broth, or water even, sometimes juice, and you scrape it up and create a pan sauce with it.
Amazing. Another way to refer to that is the fond.
Yes, the fond.
You're minimizing food waste because you are sopping up every last speck of the protein or whatever you're cooking. I think modern day folks forget or don't know that you can boil many liquids to kill bacteria or germs. So, water typically boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you boil things for about a minute, you're usually pretty good to go. Something else that I kept thinking about was all the bones on the platform.
Yes. If only someone had fire and a pot. You can boil bones for stock, whether it's chicken, beef, pork, fish. I tend to boil meat bones for 4 hours at least. Fish bones don't need to be boiled for that long. And vegetables, they tend to get really mushy and make the broth really cloudy. So I tend not to boil vegetables for that long. Probably 2 hours max.
Do you think that you have to boil fish bones a lot less because they're so much smaller?
Yeah. That's essentially it. They don't have a lot of that marrow in the middle. You have to use a lot more too.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think for our listeners, fish stock is usually pretty quick. Beef stock, pork stock, a lot longer. Chicken stock, there's two camps. There's the people that do the quick chicken stock, and then there's people that do it overnight on super low flame for 12 hours. My old boss, Barbara Kafka, loved to roast chicken when she had guests. And after the meal was over, she would literally go around, take everyone's chicken bones, and make chicken stock with them the next day. So people who'd never eaten at our house were like, what is this crazy woman doing?
That's so funny. I get it. Yeah, she's not wrong. I mean, if she's okay with people's mouths touching the bones, then fine, to each her own.
But you're boiling it, remember?
Yeah, that's true. You're boiling it. And just going back to the different proteins, those are all bases for all of our favorite soups. Pho is beef bones for long periods of time. Chicken paitan ramen is chicken bones for a very long time. Pork tonkatsu ramen, etc., etc.
My favorite. No, you're absolutely right. And then all good fish stews, fish soups, fish stock. I think really high quality fish stock makes such a difference. And if you ever go to a fancy French restaurant, they have really, really beautiful fish stock. When I used to work in San Francisco, we would have to clean all the bloodlines out, and these bones were pristine before they even went into the stock. And it took a very long time to prep those stocks with intricate recipes. I think even for people that don't cook at all, but only buy cooked rotisserie chicken, yay Costco.
Yeah.
It's always a good idea to use a leftover carcass to make chicken stock. Here's the recipe. Dump carcass in a pot, cover with cold water, bring to a boil, reduce to a simmer. Easy peasy. What about leftover bread and crusts like the prisoners ate? What would you do with them?
Well, I always buy whole loaves of bread and freeze half of it immediately because I know I'm not going to get to the second half. I already know my capacity for bread in 1 week. To prevent mold, I already pre-slice half of it and put it in the freezer so that I can toast it ready to go next week. But there are always times when I have extra bread. The first thing I'll do is make crostini because that's just a simple toast point. And then as you get smaller and smaller, you can make croutons and then you can make breadcrumbs. So you can actually make croutons and then breadcrumbs from that.
That's actually really smart. So you're going in decreasing size and you're kind of naturally following the volume of the bread to make do with whatever you're going to transform your older bread.
Yeah.
We don't say old anymore. We say older.
Older.
More experienced
More
bread.
experience. Not
So-
over the hill.
Not old bread, experienced bread. One of my most favorite things to make with experienced bread is panzanella.
Sorry, that made me snort. Okay, sorry, go on.
No, that's good. You better not edit that out. That's amazing. That is audio gold. So panzanella is the, crouton salad, bread salad. It's from Cucina Povera in Italy, right? Like poverty cuisine or make something from nothing. So I make panzanella with the oldest, hardest bread I can find. When I was in France, I once made croutons with a baguette that was probably a month old. I mean, you could have killed someone with it. And people loved it. In France, where, it's bread culture, so every day we would get freshly baked baguettes and viennoiserie, like croissants and pain au chocolat. And, so it's really, really good quality bread. I don't know that I would make croutons out of like a supermarket loaf of bread, but French baguette, dry as anything. You could kill someone with it. It was like a bat. And I rehydrated it. And, there's a really good way to revive rock hard bread.
Yeah, you steam it in the oven. This is a magic trick. This really changed my life. If you have a whole baguette and it's like rock hard, just moisten the outside with some water. Run it under the water like quick. Don't soak it. And then you can re-toast it in the oven. And the outside will still get crackly again. It's kind of insane.
I think it's the closest thing to magic that we have. You're taking something that is inedible, basically a weapon, and just by using water and heat, again, controlling your heat, right? This is a common message in our episodes. You can revive a baguette. You can bring bread back from the dead. The theme of the episode is minimizing food waste, making sure you use everything up. With a lot of baked goods, I think a little bit of moisture and heat can go a long way. If you have stale cookies, stale bread, even a stale donut, a little bit of moisture, and then you kind of perk it back up with heat, because you're steaming it back to life, right? So steam is very rejuvenating. Yeah. So numerous different approaches to restoring your bread to its former glory. But what about the fruit and vegetable scraps on the table?
Oh, there's so much you can do. You ever heard of marmalade?
Lady marmalade.
Uh-huh. You can make jams, jellies, chutneys with peelings. You can make pesto with vegetable tops, especially carrots, beets, radishes. And then you can make pickles with the ends of cucumbers. You can make it with carrots. Like, there's really not a lot of things you can't pickle.
True story.
And don't be afraid of ugly produce. I mean, that stuff is still useful and pickleable. It doesn't need to look perfect.
No, for sure. I remember the first time I saw pickled watermelon rind. I thought my eyes were like, I was tripping out. I was in my friend's pantry, and they were very, very fancy people with antique silverware and finger bowls. And obviously they're not going to have bad food in their house, right? They were like fancy. So I didn't understand how something I viewed as trash was like in their pantry. And I remember asking my friend, like, what is this pickled watermelon rind? But I guess you can pickle anything though, right?
It's true. It's true. It's a surefire way to transform anything, less than ideal into something delicious and something you can have on hand. I personally love pickling with sugarcane vinegar, kosher salt, and degular granulated sugar.
So do you think that you like pickling with sugarcane vinegar because you're Filipino?
Yes. That was the quickest yes ever.
What was it called? Datu?
Datu puti.
Yeah, datu puti, yeah.
What kind of vinegar do you use, Clara?
I mostly use rice wine vinegar. I feel like it's not as aggressive as distilled white vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is a close second. I just love the way it tastes. Diamond Crystal kosher salt, I also agree, is the gold standard. And I also use white sugar because I think it dissolves the best. Mm-hmm. I also will throw whatever I have lying around into the brines. Maybe I've got a couple cloves of garlic, some leftover herbs, chili flakes. I can honestly say I've never made pickles the same way twice. What is your favorite pickled thing?
Every week I have to restock the menu at Wonderville, and so I pickle red onions for the most part. My whole life is just red pickled onions and just crying in the kitchen. But personally, I just really love pickled garlic. What is your favorite pickle?
Ooh, pickled garlic. That's a good one. I'm pickled garlic adjacent. I love spicy pickled garlic scapes.
Ooh, yeah.
Spicy pickled carrots. And there's a company in Philly called Fishtown Pickle Project. And they do these zesty garlic pickles that they're just bananas. They're so delicious.
If I go to a farmer's market, I am a sucker for a new pickle. Just like the brand new dill pickle. I love that.
Interesting.
I just love one. I'll just walk around the farmer's market with a new dill pickle.
You know what? It's better that you're like, munching on a dill pickle than like a cigarette or, something bad. It's vegetable, probiotics, good stuff. Okay, so speaking of carrots, do you peel your carrots?
It depends. Depends on the quality and exactly how I'm going to use them. Really, really nice farmer's market carrots, I generally don't peel. I will scrub those because there's still a lot of nutrients in the skin.
Yes, so many.
But if it's the gigantic, what we call horse carrots from the grocery store, and they've been piled on, they might have fallen on the floor, people have touched them to see how heavy they were, I will peel those. Yes. But you can also make a nice carrot slaw by making ribbons. Use your vegetable peeler to just run it along the whole carrot. Because if you just keep going down vertically, it just becomes really thick. So you can get them uniform if you rotate the carrot every time you peel and just keep going. And then you're left with a really fun pencil-shaped snack for yourself.
Amazing. Basically zero waste. Love it.
Yeah.
So speaking of zero waste, I always tell people use the whole freaking lemon or lime.
True.
Not just the juice. The zest has tons of flavor. The squeezed rind also packs a punch. You can add it to water, other drinks, make your own spa water. But I also like to tell people that there's so much lemon like essence and aroma and flavor left in that spent rind. You can throw it in a bag, oil, vinegar, aromatics, and you can marinate chicken, you can marinate meat, marinate vegetables, what have you. There's so many uses you can get out of one piece of citrus.
That is literally my steak marinade. It is, skirt steak, spent lemon halves, grated garlic, soy sauce, olive oil, vinegar, salt, pepper. That's it. And people are like, what's your secret? And I'm like, these are all the ingredients. You also have these at home. It's not crazy. But zest can really take a dish from good to great.
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of, obviously, salt and pepper. People always say, why is your food so good? Salt and pepper. Proper seasoning, I think, is the foundation. And I think with home cooks, the difference between home cooks and professional chefs, honestly, is the amount of salt that professional chefs use and the amount of fat.
Which is a lot more than you think.
Right. A lot more than you think. And a lot more fat. So chefs are not shy about oil, butter, salt, pepper. We're not using different ingredients than home cooks per se. We're just using a lot more of them.
And using it 100%. So going back to that lemon, you can also put it in your garbage disposal to freshen it up. Yeah. So if you put one at a time, don't put 7 of them in there. Don't sue me. You can put a half of a spent lemon into your garbage disposal and run it with some running water, and it will freshen it up and sharpen the blades.
That is amazing. Wow. As the platform descends, there's less actual food on the table, but we also see containers, bottles, and whatnot with leftover product. Jen, do you have any tips on utilizing 100% of something?
Oh, yes, I do.
Tell.
You can rinse the jar or bottle or container with a little bit of water to make sure you're getting every last drop. So, for example, I use a lot of honey in my curry ketchup recipe. And so when we get to that bottom of the honey bear, you're like, how do I get to the bottom of the honey bear without having it upside down all night?
Right.
I do a little bit of warm water and shake it up. And then I add it to the recipe because I've accounted for that extra water, actually. It's also a great tip for making honey water for tea, like for your sweetener in the morning. So just get in the bottom of the honey bear or the bottom of the ketchup bottle, add a little water, shake it up, and then you can squeeze out the rest of it. Same thing for mustard. I waste no drop of condiment in this house.
Amazing. Speaking of condiments, something that I saw once I thought was so clever, and I couldn't believe I hadn't thought of it because I'm so cheap, was to make vinaigrette in the bottle of Dijon mustard. Instead of throwing it away with a half teaspoon or 1 teaspoon of mustard spread all over the inside of it, you pour in some vinegar and oil, shake it up, instant dressing, and then you already have the container for it as well.
Genius.
I thought it was so smart, and minimizing dishes, already have the container, and you get every square drop of the mustard integrated into your vinaigrette.
My only advice to add to that is put a towel over the lid before you shake, because a jar is not a martini shaker, you know? Like,
yes.
I have spilled oil-based things on myself doing this.
Yes. Also, listeners, make sure that the lid is tightly screwed on.
Yeah, dude.
So, what about older fruits and vegetables that aren't exactly prime for eating fresh?
As long as they're still safe to eat, they're so great to work with. You can throw old veggies in soups and stocks, old fruits into smoothies. I actually like grating old apples and pears for marinades. That's a secret for a lot of Korean marinade, right?
Yes. Yes. Fruits and Korean marinades is a great secret.
Yeah. Overly ripe banana, you can freeze it and it can be perfect for your next banana bread or a smoothie or banana shake or even a vegan ice cream. Exactly. Yeah.
You just need a high-speed blender for that.
Yeah, and some yogurt, maybe some dairy or non-dairy yogurt, whatever your dairy journey is.
Really quick though, you said the operative phrase, if they're still safe to eat. How do you know if they're still safe to eat?
The skin should be unbroken. It's okay if it's soft, but not so soft that it's mushy when you pick it up. Yeah.
I think that's good advice. I think also you shouldn't be eating mold. You shouldn't be eating fungus. If it smells bad, you shouldn't be eating it.
Yes.
I think when we're talking about fruits and vegetables past their prime is a little bit wrinkled, a little bit dried out, a little bit less attractive than when you first bought it, but not moldy, not fungusy, not with broken skin, not with foul odor, not with rotting flesh. Don't eat that. Please don't eat that.
Don't eat that.
We don't want anyone to get sick. So clearly we have lots of thoughts about how to maximize our ingredients and minimize waste, especially now as the cost of groceries seemingly keep going up. I don't understand how it happens, but it's more important than ever to be as resourceful as possible in the kitchen and while shopping. One of the reasons that we picked this movie, obviously, we don't see them cook anything because they're in prison, but there's so much food, cooking, dining information sprinkled throughout the movie. I think the opening scenes, it's food porn, right? So there's all these, like prosciuttos, I don't think people understand, like a whole prosciutto, like the whole hind leg, it's really expensive. And
so expensive.
The prosciutto we saw, that would be prosciutto prosciutto crudo. So it's the cured leg. It's like the sea salt and the air and the goodness and thyme. That's what makes the beautiful prosciutto that we all know and love. Prosciutto cotto, which is the cooked prosciutto, we don't see that as much in the States. But
I haven't seen that really.
Yeah, it's more like ham in the way that we typically think about in America. And then most prosciutto that we see imported for now, like all the crazy tariffs.
Maybe.
For now. Prosciutto was expensive pre-tariff, so I mean, only the richest people can eat prosciutto if all those tariffs go through. Prosciutto di Parma is from the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy, and then prosciutto San Daniele is from the Friuli Venezia Giulia region.
So DOC stands for Denominazione di Origine Controllata. It's a name-controlled distinction. Yes, there are name-protected foods in the world, and prosciutto is one of them.
It can also be DOP, where the P is protected destination of origin. Anyway, the Italians take things very seriously, that certain food items and beverages can only be called certain names. It's the same thing with champagne. You can't call anything champagne unless it's made in the Champagne method from the Champagne region of France. Going back to the wonderful assortment of ingredients, I've seen this movie twice now. The cuisine is gorgeous and exceptional and food porny, but it's also so unabashedly French.
Yes.
There's so much French cuisine. You see the veal head, tête de veau, classic French bistro dish. You see the pig's head for head cheese, which is also another classic French bistro dish. Goreng, when he's getting interviewed, before he knows what he signed up for, they're asking him all these very specific questions about what he eats. They ask him his favorite dish, and he's kind of hesitant, but then he says Burgundian snails, escargot. And I don't know if you remember this from the movie, Jen, but once he's kind of leading the resistance, they put escargot on the platform, and he doesn't even eat it. That's how broken he's become. He doesn't even eat his favorite dish.
Well, I don't know if I would say broken. He, at that point, is the revolutionary and had divided it between the two rations that he was setting out.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Okay. He was not broken. He realized that it was less important for him to eat his favorite food
Yes.
than to feed the people below him. You're okay. You're right. Withdrawn. Yeah, I was like, I was wrong. Everybody, I was wrong.
Okay. Jeez.
What's interesting is I used to sell escargot. And yeah. So I used to work for D'Artagnan. So burgundy snails, that is like the gold standard. And that is what we would sell. They're also very expensive.
The signifier here in the film is Escargot de Bourchon, like it is a specific dish from a specific place that is known to be expensive or luxurious.
Yeah.
And its usage, I mean, we got to see the preparation of it. Like, we didn't see a lot of individual preparation of a lot of foods in the film, but this one we did get to see the mise. We got to see a shallot, we got to see the herbs, the butter, much butter.
Oh my God.
So much butter, and this guy just like very daintily plating 8 of them on a glass platter. Yeah.
Really gorgeous dish.
It's a pretty significant dish in the film.
Like, he's starving, but he doesn't eat it. He gives it to the people below him. Not to get too like philosophical, but I don't think people think that way anymore. I don't think that people believe that we're a community, and that I think that the public has gotten so selfish, and it's not about the greater good and making sure that everyone has enough. But I just want to make sure that I have the most. And I think that that's like the breakdown of society right there. But
all right. Politics alert, where you're going into current events. I mean, you're absolutely right. The top 1% of people in the United States right now are benefiting the most. And this movie is an allegory of what's happening to us right now. The people at the top are feasting while the rest of us are starving.
No, exactly. And
literal and figurative.
So it's the people at the top that have the most, and they're getting this like exquisite food, and then the people at the bottom are starving. And I mean, yeah. So something that Jen and I were talking about, we planned the 10 movies that we were going to cover this season. We planned this like months ago.
Yes.
We did not know what was going to be happening globally when we wrote our season out. The timing of this is really kind of amazing. But all right, let's get after the movie.
No, I mean, I think that speaks to how effective the film is philosophically on many different levels. It really is getting us worked up, not just about food, but about our livelihoods. It's totally okay to go off topic on this one.
I think I watched the movie, probably 2019 was when it came out. I think I watched it for the first time 2020, and then I rewatched it pretty recently, like maybe like a week ago. And the movie, even though I'd seen it, felt a lot darker, a lot more violent, and a lot more visceral than the first time I saw it. And I remember saying that to you, but I think to your point, because of everything going on right now, it's like a gut punch, and I feel like I'm feeling it a lot more, which is pretty awful. So talking about the exquisite kitchen, Michelin-starred kitchen with like everything's like gold. It's like such a like exaggeration of like
copper,
super nice stuff. Like, it's like precious metals. There's like 8,000 people. None of them are dirty. They're like spotless, even though they're in a kitchen. We were talking earlier about like using bones and carcasses to make stocks, and they kind of luxuriously pan over these giant stock pots. I think it's letting you know that they are serious about their food in this kitchen. Where they're making their own stocks. There's all different levels of stocks, right? Are you making your stocks from the cleanest bones, the highest quality water, trimmed vegetables? Or are you buying high quality stock? Or are you getting like collagen broth, which is not great? Or cardinal sin, are you using bouillon cubes?
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. It's not a cardinal sin. It depends on what you're using them for. I do a hybrid of fresh and sometimes a little perk of some bouillon, but not the full cube.
Okay.
But you're right. They are different schools of cooking and economic level.
No, for sure. I think, yes, obviously I have beef and chicken bouillon cubes in my house. It's not a cardinal sin. If I was doing like bordelaise sauce, like I'm not using a beef bouillon cube. If I'm making something where like the chicken stock was really important, I wouldn't use it. But I think if I need like a flavor boost, more importantly, if I want that MSG, I think a lot of times like I'll just use MSG, which I also have in my cabinet. That was like sort of a mental connection that I made pretty recently. What I love about a lot of these powders and cubes and flavor enhancers that I've historically had experience with is it's the MSG. And so once I got just a pint container of MSG, I'd go to town with that stuff. That umami burst. That's why I love Chinese food so much. They put MSG in so many things. A lot of Korean stocks, Japanese stocks, like dashi powder. So much MSG. So delicious.
Oh yeah, my family uses a lot of mamacita and maji.
Maji!
Ang sarap powder, magic powder from the Philippines.
Oh my God. Maji is like, that's amazing stuff. It's in a brown bottle. It's got a yellow and red label if you're at an Asian grocery store. I think also what we see in that kitchen, a hallmark of a fine dining restaurant versus a more casual or a quick service restaurant, is that they're getting in whole fish.
Remember what we said in the Bubba Gump episode 2. We talked about the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch, and Clara has so many different things to say about when you're buying seafood and why you should buy whole fish.
Whole fish is always the best way to go. Cost effective, you can tell if it's fresh, but it's also a skill, and not that many people are adept at fish butchery. And then if you're not good at fish butchery, then your yield is really low. Yield means how much of the fish you can get. Let's say you get a whole fish. Let's say you get a 5-pound fish. You chop off the head, you chop off the gills, you get rid of all the scales, and then you're looking for, perfect 4 or 6 ounce fillets. If someone's not good at butchery, you're not going to get that many usable 4 or 6 ounce fillets. Your yield on that fish is going to be really low. Typically, fine dining restaurants, they're going to get whole fish in because it's the cheapest, the freshest. They usually have someone who's a really good fish butcherer. But nowadays, it's a lot more cost effective for people to get vacuum sealed fish. You can basically order whatever you want. Like, I want 4 ounce skin off, boneless salmon fillets. I want it to be wild. I want it to be farmed. Here's the cost. And then you get it, 100% yield. You open the bag.
There you go.
Ready to go. So it's cost benefit of labor versus ingredient cost versus space versus time. Fun fact about fish butchery. This is like one of my most favorite facts about restaurants in America. The famed 4-star seafood restaurant, Le Bernardin in Manhattan. It's like the temple of seafood. Yeah. Eric Repair's such a talented chef. They have a guy who basically just butchers fish all day, and he's been there forever.
Wow.
When he goes on vacation, 3 people need to cover for him. That's how good and how fast he is.
Wow.
3 people.
That's incredible.
I think it's amazing. Anthony Bourdain did it behind the scenes with Le Bernardin, and that's where I learned that fact. And I just thought that was like, when we talk about being a master at your craft, like that's unbelievable. And he must do it so quickly, so perfectly, so efficiently.
Yeah. So speaking of specialized chefs, the film had so many freaking chefs. Like, there's so much division of labor, too. I also noticed the pastry kitchen with the chocolatier. Like, there was fine, patisserie desserts in there. And, a fish specialist, there was stock specialist, there was somebody checking the inventory in the opening sequence when the oranges were coming down the chute, which freaks me out a little bit, that the oranges were coming from above. So level 0 was still under something else. Isn't that crazy?
What? That is crazy. I didn't even think about it. I'm allergic to oranges, so when I see oranges, I kind of tune out.
I just looked away from the screen.
I just I don't care. What I would imagine is it's a top-down building, right?
Yeah.
So
or
they
in
probably
the ground.
Get all their deliveries airlifted to them.
Oh.
Because all the bottom floors, and you know what? Sorry, something that we were talking about. It's 333 floors. Okay, spoiler alert, you're not supposed to know that till the middle of the movie. 666. So
yes.
It's sort of it's like hell.
Yeah, it's the levels of hell. It's desolate, it's desperate, but they found hope on the way down. Wow.
Yeah, this is... Listeners, we highly recommend you watch this movie, not with children.
Absolutely not.
Or with people that are squeamish or have light stomachs or sensitive. It's such a thought-provoking movie. And I think the reason why I first saw it, the movie list, it was best food movies of all time or something like that. And it's such a high concept thriller. And, what we love about the cinema chefs is that we love cooking in movies. And this is a movie that really sticks with you. And it gets more relevant every time I watch it. Not that I want to watch it a third time, but
gosh,
it has deeper meaning every time I watch it. I was looking up the cast and the crew. One person did all the creative. It was art director, fashion director, set designer. It was all one person. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was intense. They had a clear vision.
All right, listeners, what is the best tip to reduce food waste?
Pickle everything or use it for stock.
I mean, you really got to drive it home for folks. Like, it's a useful skill. I actually wrote an article about this.
Ooh.
It's on my new blog, which is at familypartycatering.com.
Amazing.
It's called Don't Throw That Out, Tips to Avoid Food Waste. But the top line advice is to, shop smarter before you even leave the house. Do your inventory, make a list. Don't buy 2 mustards unless you really love mustard.
Unless you're a chef and you have 6 in your fridge at all times.
Yeah, so like if a recipe calls for half an onion, plan a second dish that will use the other half another day. Storing your food well is another way to reduce waste, and you maximize the freshness of fruits and vegetables by researching how to store them, both inside and outside of the fridge. Don't overpack your fridge and freezer. You keep things longer if the fridge is working optimally. Let's see, what's my final advice? If you can, try composting or dropping off your compost at your farmer's market. That is one way to divert waste away from the landfills, which are too full.
Yeah, so 40% of landfills are food waste. In restaurants, you always have to consolidate everything. Air, obviously we need it to breathe. Air is also the enemy. It takes a lot of space. Things spoil faster with a lot of air. So if you have strawberries, oatmeal, any ingredient that you have in your refrigerator or your cabinet, put it into a smaller container.
Yeah.
Save space, reduce the volume of air to prolong the
shelf life
of the ingredient. Jen and I live in big cities with small kitchens and small storage. Do you know that I only have 1 half cabinet for dry storage?
What? How?
Every square centimeter of that pantry is filled. There's no dead space because everything's like sideways, like things in bags. Like I'll roll it up as tight as I can, put a rubber band, shove it on top of like 5 cans. I don't know how I have had such a small half cabinet. Oh, and it's not deep either because it's above my sink. It's like 2 square feet.
This is an extra skill that chefs get, is that we get really, really good at Tetris. Like really good at Tetris.
Kitchen Tetris is definitely a skill, but I think it's also, it's necessity, right? Like I don't have like a butler's pantry. I don't have a walk-in pantry. I don't have 20 square feet of storage. I don't have a family of 5, so I also don't need as much food as that group does. If you cook a lot, like we do, peel a couple onions and then just like have them ready to go so that you can like chop them up or have a bunch of chopped up onions and then pick from that appropriate size container during the week. I love getting peeled garlic. I know that's like bad chefy of me, but
no, I do too.
Yeah, you can buy a half pint of peeled garlic from H Mart for like $2. And again, pick what you need. Just buy what you need. Unless you're looking to save money, you want to buy in bulk, and then you tightly wrap something, eliminate as much air as you can, and then put it in the freezer. But I think shopping appropriately is a great way to save money, minimize space, and think smarter.
For the modern day platform, us making a podcast in a competitive podcast environment, we are the message.
Nothing happens overnight.
It's true. A collective action rebellion starts here.
El Hoyo, also known as trickle-down economics don't work. That's like more relevant than ever.
Listeners, we'd like to hear from you. Can you share your tips for reducing food waste, or do you have a kitchen hack for being more efficient? Let us know.
Tune in next time as we explore the underbelly of fine dining and the ultimate burger in the movie, The Menu.
Thank you for tuning in to The Cinema Chefs. Please share your tips and tricks with our Instagram at The Cinema Chefs or drop us a line at thecinemachefs@gmail.com. We hope you enjoyed the show. This is Jen
and Clara signing off.
Just remember, you can become a better cook just by watching a movie. The Cinema Chefs was recorded in Brooklyn, New York and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Edited by me, Jen De La Vega. Music by Penguin Music, Paradise Island from Pixabay, and our logo was by Nikki Newsom.